Hey everyone, welcome back. This is Ryan Weiss, and this week's Optics Word of the Week is focus. And what I want you to think about is the concept of focus and how far or close does something need to be in order for you to be focused in a proper way for your business. There are multiple different ways you can focus. And sometimes in business, we hear about long term and we hear about focusing on what's right in front of us and fighting fires and all these types of things. And this week, as we think about focus, I want to make sure that you're using the right lens, that you're looking at things in the right perspective, in the right time frame that's going to enable you to be successful. There are multiple different tools you can use, just like there are in the study of light. You might have a magnifying glass, you might have some reading glasses, you might have a telescope that's going to help you see way out in the distance. If you pick the wrong tool for the job, if you pick the wrong perspective, if you try to study ants with a telescope, you're going to fail miserably. If you try to study the moon with a microscope, unless you're on the moon, you're not going to get very far. So making sure that you've got the right focus. Are you focusing on long term right now? Or are you focusing on short term? I've been in a number of business meetings recently with folks who are talking about maybe two different things. One person thinks that they're talking about how long has it been since we've called on this account. Somebody else thinks about, well, how long is it going to take us to close the account? And when two people have different perspectives, when they have different focuses on something, it often can result in a lot of miscommunication, a lot of challenges within a team or organization. So next time you're in something and you're frustrated, you're seeing some people butting heads maybe, I encourage you to think about, are we looking at it through a different perspective? Is one of us looking at it through a telescope and the other one looking at it through a microscope? And if you are, this might provide you some language to take a step back during that meeting and have a little discussion about, well, are we looking at this through the same perspective? Or is one of us looking through a different lens than the other? This has become incredibly common. And I've had so many situations in personal life and business and with clients, with my own team, where I've got to take a step back and ask the question, what's the lens that we're using to view the situation through? Because sometimes you can look at the same thing from two different angles and get two very different results. So if you find that you're having some conflict within your team, one of the things about optics is the ability to take a step back, ask the question, what's the purpose that we're trying to achieve here? What's the scope that we're trying to look at it through? And what are the gaps that we know exist? If we can agree on those three things, the purpose, the scope, and the gaps, then we can take that next step and things will start to become clearer and clearer and clearer. And it won't be this fuzziness that might be out of focus. So the optics word of the week this week is focus. And I'm encouraging you to think about how can you ask some good questions this week to ensure that you and other parties are focusing on the same thing and using the same lens, or at least understanding each other's lenses as you look at it. So we've got some great things going on this year at EPS. We've got the Optics in Action podcast. So if you haven't checked that out, I'd encourage you to go to podcast.epsoptics.com. If you've got somebody in your network that you think would be a great guest, we've got all kinds of great guests. We had a rocket scientist that's been featured on there. We've got folks who are experts in leadership and sales and operations and process management. And I would love to continue these conversations with folks to keep building out and providing value for our audience. So as you think about the perspective of what you're going through this week, Optics in Action might be a great podcast for you to check out. The second thing is my book is coming up in a few months. So you can go to book.epsoptics.com and you can learn more there about the book and about creating clarity, creating alignment, creating focus in your organization. It's going to enable your team to be more scalable, to be more consistent, to help improve the processes and the alignment that you've got in your team. So look forward to catching you again next week with our Optics Word of the Week. Take care.